I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today we are going to talk about, is it required to have a degree in writing in order to be a writer? First and foremost, I'm going to start off with the answer is no. It is not required, but it does help. So, as someone who has a degree in writing, I have a degree in fiction writing from Columbia College, Chicago. I will tell you that that degree has greatly helped me as a writer and helped my writing career. But I also know many other successful writers and authors that don't have a degree in writing and don't have any intention of getting one. Do you need a degree in writing in order to be a writer? No, you really don't. But you do absolutely need outside input, and you really, really need to make sure that you have good connections in the writing community. Now, when I say that, I don't mean good connections in terms of any sort of prestige or giving yourself a leg up per se, but in terms of that you need to build a supportive community of other writers that are going to help you grow as a writer, possibly even find yourself a mentor. This is essentially what the benefit of having a writing degree is that you have this mentorship, aka your professors, and you have your community, the other students in the classroom with you, that are going to help push you as a writer and ultimately help your writing grow. Now, I personally did not need any help in terms of being a writer, and most people who go to school for writing don't need any help with being a writer. And what that means is that you are fully capable of being able to sit down and work on your writing for hours on end, aka you enjoy being a writer, you have inspiration, you have stories you want to write, etc. You don't need any help with doing any of that. What you do need help with is, one, getting out of your own head. That's a big one that I have, which flows into making sure you get it on the page, making sure that your characters are realistic and make sense, making sure that your story makes sense, that you don't have plot holes, that things don't just suddenly fly out of nowhere and happen. Your reader's like, what just happened? We were over here and now we're over there. We just jumped 5 years without warning. All those sort of things. That it's you have outside input pushing you to grow. Outside input is other people reading your story and giving you feedback about it, whether good or bad. As I tell people, you don't need to be a professional chef to know that the soup sucks. So even if the other people in your writing community, in your class, in your friend circle, even if they're not experienced writers or writers at all, they can still read your story and give you crucial input that's going to help you as a writer. They can tell you, hey, this part of your story doesn't make any sense, or hey, I don't understand why this character cares about this thing, or why they did this thing, or why they're making these decisions, or hey, your idea is really convoluted and confusing. Again, you don't have to be a professional chef to know that the soup sucks. Ultimately, having a writing degree means that you have a structured way to go about this process. That it's you sign up to go to a school, to go to a class, to learn from a teacher who, hopefully anyway, is an experienced writer that knows what they're talking about and has ties in the industry and is able to give you direct input on your writing, as well as you're going to interact with other students in your class who are also writers or writing hopefuls, who are also going to give you input on your writing, and on top of it, that you're going to get inspiration from their writing, and then you're also going to learn how to critique your own writing and critique other people's writing by interacting with their stories as well, whether it's reading stories out loud or reading other stories yourself for critique groups, etc. All of that is going to help give you the tools that you need to be able to critique your own writing and be able to edit your own writing, and again, get out of your own head and be able to push yourself to be a better writer. One of the biggest mistakes that I see with writers and with people who are hopeful writers is that they think they're awesome. Now, this is different from what I explain to people about my journey as a writer when I tell people that I am of this certain level with my writing, and to please not compare yourself to me because it's unrealistic. Because it is. That I live on a very different plane in that I've been writing since I was a very young child. I had enormous support from my parents. And on top of it, my mom is a writer, and there are other women in my family and in my lineage that were also writers. So I have all of that. I was groomed for this, y'all. Like literally from day one, it was, you shall be a writer. Boop. Given all the resources in the whole world, all the support to do this. And that's not typical for this process. Most people have parents who are not supportive, have family members that are not supportive, don't have writers in their families, don't have these kind of resources that I've been given. And that's why I tell people, please don't compare yourself to me. I'm operating on a totally different level than most people. Like most people, you know, they've got a ball and chain that they've got to drag around from the start line. I've got like Michael Jordan is carrying me piggyback style on his back and we're running circles around people. Just to give you an idea. That is completely different in terms of talent, resources, support, etc., than people who think just because that their writing is awesome. Let me elaborate. What that means is that some writers get into this rut where they believe that their writing is awesome and beyond reproach. Oftentimes these people are in circles where they have support for their writing, which is yay, is always helpful and awesome, but sometimes that support can be toxic in that kind of support can lead them to believe that their writing is awesome and perfect and that they don't need to grow and that they don't need any help with their writing and that it's just the awesomest writing ever and blah. And the problem with that is that those people will believe that and they won't grow and they will get defensive with any sort of criticism that is thrown at them about their writing. I have literally met these people. They're really tough to deal with, and you have to learn that some people you just can't argue with and they're just gonna not grow and you just have to let them fail all by themselves. And then some of them grow from that failure and others just don't. And again, that's their journey, not yours, not your responsibility. But if you are one of those people, and I'm sure that this video is making you hella mad, and I'm sure my other video, How to Write a Novel with Tough Love, also probably made you hella mad. And in that case, I don't know how you got here, but I'm glad you're here because I want to tell you, okay, I am sure your idea is awesome. And I'm sure your writing at whatever level it is of competency is great because people don't just say your writing is awesome if it just completely is garbage and sucks, okay? There is merit in it, and I am not denying that merit. However, there is no writer alive who is writing stuff that is perfect from the get-go. That's why rough drafts exist. That's why editors exist. That's why writers' workshops exist. You need to have outside input, and you need to polish your work, and you need to accept growth and criticism. These are musts if you're going to have any sort of success as an author. And this is the trap that I saw some of my fellow classmates in my classes in college. They were also pursuing writing degrees, but the problem was that they were not there to learn. They were there to basically show off how awesome they thought they were and how awesome they thought their writing was, and let's just all soak up my awesomeness. And of course they didn't do very well because they were not open to any of the critiques or criticisms from the teachers or from their classmates. They refused to take the writing exercises seriously. They thought they had already reached the Mount Everest pinnacle of awesomeness at writing, and it was just kind of like, I'm sorry, why are you here? And it does beg the question that it's like, okay, if you're so awesome, why are you here? Why aren't you a bestseller published author if you're so awesome? Because you need to grow. And not only that, there is no pinnacle of awesomeness. Even with famous, well-known, best-selling authors, they still grow. They are still growing. They're still learning. That is one of the biggest things about this craft that you have to remember is you have to be willing to grow and continue to grow all throughout your career. And that's one of the big things that I learned when I was at college is that it's not about being the bestest or the awesomest or whatever. It's about being willing to take criticism and grow. Those were the most important things I learned, along with the leg up that I got with my writing degree was having access to the writing and publishing industry. While I was at Columbia during that time period, it was a requirement that all teachers in the writing major had to be published authors and had to have connections in the publishing industry. They had to be an expert in their field and be able to give real advice to their students. So the teachers I had were able to tell us, hey, this publisher is taking submissions right now. so and so, you have a piece right now that I think would be great. You should submit to them. Or, you know what, we're all going to do a workshop right now. This particular publisher is taking submissions for this right now, and I'm going to have you all write a piece. And for homework, you're going to write it, you're going to workshop it, and then by the end of the month, you're going to submit it. And then we're all going to see what happens. Those were real things that happened at my college in my classes, is we had real live right now connections to the publishing industry. And we had classes where they specifically told us the ins and outs of what to do and what not to do with how to shop your novel around to publishers, and what to do if a publisher does respond to you. How do you go about courting literary agents? How do you just exist in the writing community? You know, once we go out into the world and graduate, okay, how do I author? We learned all that stuff. So that is the leg up that I got from my writing degree, that I was able to be light years ahead of others because of the connections that I had in the publishing and writing industry, and I was able to jump right in with all of that knowledge. So I basically just fast-tracked myself with my degree. But as I said, a writing degree is not required in order to be an author, and it's not required to be able to learn all this kind of stuff, such as I try to impart in these videos to y'all. The information that I have, the experiences that I've had, what to do and what not to do, all the stuff that I learned. It's here for y'all. This is a resource for y'all. So, you know, kind of think of this as your own little pretend, college class sort of thing. And there are people that have real courses that you can take, people who have real workshops that you can be a part of. And there are real communities in your areas that you can join and be a part of and learn these same sort of things that I learned in college, or that the average person would learn in a writing degree setting. So is it required? No. There's so many resources out there where you can hodgepodge together the same sort of experience. And there's also plenty of things that you can bypass, because part of getting a degree is having to do a lot of other basic stuff in order to call it a degree. So I had to take a math class, I had to take a science class, I had to take classes that had nothing to do with writing. I had to take other basic classes that I was basically bored to tears with, because I was just beyond that level with my writing, that I just was like, I'm just here to get a credit sort of thing. Whereas if you don't have a degree in writing and you don't plan on pursuing it, you can pick and choose what you want to educate yourself with. You can fast track yourself with, you know what, my writing is really excellent and I work really hard at it, and I have this workshopping group that I meet with monthly and we all help each other to work and grow. The only piece I'm missing is I don't really know how the publishing industry works, so I'm just going to go and educate myself on that. That's perfectly viable and makes total sense. Is why would you bog down your personal education with information that you already know, or you're just way beyond? Picking and choosing, okay, I need this information, I need that information, I need access to this, is all completely viable for your career as a writer and author. So yeah, in conclusion, having a writing degree doesn't make you better as a writer or an author. It doesn't make you special. Does it give you a leg up? Absolutely. Does it give you access to a lot of amazing tools and individuals that are going to help your writing? Absolutely. But I personally know plenty of people who have writing degrees that did none of the actual work, and they're no better off than somebody who doesn't have a writing degree because they didn't actually put the work in and they don't want to accept growth and criticism. So having a degree doesn't make you a better writer, but if you go about it the right way, it certainly helps. I hope y'all liked this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like, and if you're new, subscribe. Thank y'all so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.